Everyone, hope everyone's doing well. We are done measurement now. That last little quiz you did would have been the last thing you have to do. So we're going to move over to Unit 6, which is geometry. Unfortunately, we're not in class to do a bunch of the hands-on stuff, but we'll make the most with what you have access to at home. So this will just be the introduction, and we'll move into describing shapes, which is going to be probably the most important part of the unit. So we're going to spend a fair bit of time on it. So the learning goals in your textbook, page 220, just kind of highlight them to know what we're going up against. So we're going to describe the sides of shapes, describe the faces and edges of objects, so 3D objects, and we're going to understand the terms, the terminology, parallel, intersecting, perpendicular, vertical, and horizontal. I know that sounds simple, but it's really, really important that you get them like super correct. And then last one there, use attributes to identify and sort quadrilaterals. And we'll get into what quadrilaterals are as well. Keywords here, I like to take a peek at those every once in a while. Attribute, parallel, intersect, vertex, horizontal, vertical, perpendicular, right angle, diagonal, rhombus, parallelogram, trapezoid, kite. You are going to need to know all of these very, very well. All right, diving into lesson 1, it says describe shapes, or describing shapes. We're going to actually skip most of this page. So this gives a nice little breakdown. I have my other screen open here because I'm just going to highlight a couple of things on this page. So it says we can describe a shape by telling about its attributes. Here are some attributes of shapes. So attributes are, it's really just ways you can describe something. Just things you know about the shape. So there's that rectangle there. So it says the length of sides. So these shapes have some sides the same length. So there's a rectangle and a parallelogram. And as you can see, okay, these two sides are the same. These two sides are the same. Just like these two sides are the same and these two sides are the same. These shapes have all sides the same length. So this is a square. All these sides are the same. This is I believe that's a hexagon. Okay, all the sides are the same. So this would be called a regular hexagon. So then it talks about something called hatch marks. We use hatch marks to show equal length. Hatch marks are very important. One of the probably the biggest things you learn in grade 5 when it comes to geometry is how to use hash marks. So I'll go over that now. Hatch marks are used to indicate sides that have equal length, like it says. So in a drawing like in your textbook, it's not as big of a deal because you can see that those shapes are what they are. The sides are equal length. The other sides are equal length. They use computers to do this stuff, so they're really accurate. However, if I draw a rectangle, okay, it's not perfect. Okay, but I don't want to spend 5 minutes trying to draw the absolute perfect rectangle every single time I need to draw a rectangle. So what I'm going to do instead is use hatch marks. So I know that I want these two sides, maybe I want them to be 1 centimeter. Okay. So, oh, sorry, the camera's doing some strange focus work here. Okay. So to indicate that these are both the same, not that they're both 1 centimeter, but they're both the same, I'm going to use something called hatch marks. So there's these little ticks here. And just one tick tells me that these two sides are equal. Okay, and maybe these sides here are supposed to be 3 centimeters. Okay, it doesn't really matter. I don't really care how long they actually are. But I want to indicate that they are equal length. All right, whether they are or not, because my drawing's not perfect. So I'm going to put 2 here. And I'm going to use 2 because this is 1. Okay, so these are going to be my 2. All right, with the parallelogram, sorry, I'm still trying to focus the camera. Oh, that's a little bit better. Okay, I'm definitely not going to be perfect at drawing parallelograms. Look, I even missed the side. Okay, but if I put a hatch mark here, that means these two sides are the same. I put my hatch marks up here. Okay, there's 2, that means these two sides are the same, regardless of what length they actually are. Okay. With my square, okay, I botched that. That's not a perfect square. But Okay, so I put one hatch mark on each side. That's going to tell me that all of those sides are equal, which tells me that that's a square. Okay, the other thing it says there, adjacent sides meet or intersect at a vertex. Okay, so adjacent means side by side. Okay. Okay, next to each other or side by side. So in a square, this square for example, okay, these two sides are adjacent. 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 All right, and they meet or intersect. So they intersect, okay, this point here, which is a vertex. Okay, this part is a vertex. Okay, what you might call it right now is just a corner. Okay, so a corner, vertex, same thing. It doesn't have to be a perfect, this is a right angle, we'll talk about that later. Okay, it could be like this one here. This is also a vertex. It's just where two adjacent lines or lines that are next to each other where they meet. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So a couple things that we can describe shapes with: the side lengths, right? Perhaps how many vertexes they have, how many lines are there, right, that end up intersecting. Okay, and the next thing is the direction of the side. So it says these shapes have at least one pair of parallel sides. These sides are always the same distance apart and never meet. When sides do not meet, we say they do not intersect. So parallel lines are really important. You're going to be doing those a lot. So the number of parallel sides a shape has is another attribute that you could talk about. So if I draw my rectangle, that was a little bit better than my one before. Okay, I can indicate with hatch marks, okay, that these sides are the same. I could, if I wanted, put little hatch marks to indicate that these sides are equal length there. But then when we talk about parallel sides, right, they never meet. I think of something like railroad tracks, right? Railroad tracks can't touch. They touch, trains going off the rails. So these go on forever, and they will never, ever, ever meet. So if I want to indicate that, I'm going to put a little arrow. Maybe if I zoom in a little bit more, it'll be better for you. Okay. And then I'm going to put an arrow here because those side, this side and this side are parallel. Okay. I'm going to have to make another shape here because I'm running out of space. Okay. So I'd say these two sides are parallel. And then these two sides here are also parallel. So I already used two arrows for some reason. So I'll put an arrow in this direction to say that these two sides are parallel. They will never, ever, ever touch no matter how far I extend those lines. Now, it doesn't have to be a rectangle or a square. Okay, they use the example down there, a little trapezoid. Okay, a little guy like this. So these two sides are not the same length. However, they are parallel. They will never touch. And again, maybe my drawing's not perfect, but using those little arrows is going to help me realize that, okay, even though my drawing's not great, it's still parallel lines. Okay? Now, these sides here are definitely not parallel, right? They will intersect somewhere around here, okay? But they are actually the same length, so I could put little hatch marks there just to say, okay, you know what? Those are not parallel, but they're the same length. Okay. Then it shows that these shapes have no parallel sides. All right, so I could just draw something like that. Definitely not parallel sides. Doesn't look like anything's equal length, so this is just a shape that has four sides. And then there's a little speech bubble there. Right? You can use your ruler to check if something's parallel. That'll be handy when we're doing worksheets or assignments. If you're drawing stuff, though, using those hatch marks or parallel arrows will help you figure out if something is supposed to be parallel or equal length. That being said, if I draw something like this, right, and I say, okay, yeah, those are equal length, those are equal length. Not even close. Okay, you still have to be relatively close. Even if I do, yeah, those are supposed to be parallel. And you can't have both of these on one line, the hatch marks and the parallel arrows. Yeah, no, that doesn't work. You have to be at least kind of sort of accurate. Okay. Last part here, I really like this part. Makes for fun questions. We can label each vertex with a different capital letter. We then name a shape by its vertices. We write the vertices in order. So they have the example of triangle ABC. Okay, so they're going in counterclockwise for their labeling this time. So ABC is the name of that triangle. This is quadrilateral. A quadrilateral is a four-sided shape. This is quadrilateral MNPQ. All right. You go in alphabetical order. Okay, you can't just do around. It can't be A H W or something like that. You have to go in alphabetical order. And the letter we're going to not use is I, because Tom sometimes looks like a 1. And you're not going to use O, because O looks like a 0. Okay, hopefully you figured that part out. The last thing just has to do with naming the sides. Okay, and that's going to be how you measure your or describe your attributes. So if I have my triangle, okay, A, B, C. It doesn't matter which way you go around. So this is triangle A, B, C. All right. This, okay, I can name, this is side A, B. Okay. This is side B, C. Okay. This is side C, A, or AC. Okay. So I can label the whole shape, and then I can label the individual sides, right? And then I could say something like this. So line AB intersects with line AB intersects with line BC. All right. And I could also say, right, line BC intersects with line CA. Okay. Different things like that. Then if I wanted to do a little rectangle here, do some hatch marks, do a couple little arrows, just so I know for sure. Yeah, that's going to be pretty squishy there, but okay. So if I wanted to, this could be W, X, Y, Z. So this could be either quadrilateral or rectangle. W, X, Y, Z. Okay, line WX, line XY, line YZ, line ZW. Okay, I could say side or line XY is parallel to XY is parallel to ZW. And I could say WX is parallel to YZ. I could say, I'm running out of time here on my record, I only get 15 minutes. I could say that WZ is the same length as XY. I could say WX is the same length as ZY. I could say that, well, we can't do perpendicular yet, we're not there. I could say WZ intersects with ZY. I could say WX intersects with XY. I could say ZY intersects with YX. I can't remember if I did that one. Right? So it's just about going through and identifying the different features or the different things about the shape. All right. So keep in mind your hatch marks, which identify equal sides. Keep in mind the word vertex, very important. Intersect, right? Things that make a corner. Keep in mind your parallel arrows. Okay, it doesn't matter direction they're going in. And then finally our labeling. So you label the corners using capital letters, ignoring I and O. And right, then you can name the shape with your letters. You can label your sides, and then you can just start describing your attributes based on what you see using the side links. All right, more next time. Talk to you guys later.